Hi all, this is Arvind here from MindMajix, and today I welcome you all to this amazing session on Tosca interview questions. Okay, so we are continuing with our interview series of videos. Okay, and the topic for the day is Tosca. Okay, so the main idea behind these interview questions is, just to provide you a recap of the concepts that you know about Tosca. Okay, and this will help you immensely a day or two before the actual interview. The first question is, okay, so as you can see on the screen, the first question is, what do you mean by Tosca? Okay, so Tosca is one of the popular continuous testing platforms developed by the company Tricentis. It accelerates testing with a no-code approach and scriptless for end-to-end automation. So this tool is used for both functional as well as regression testing. Okay, and in addition to the automation functions it also supports a graphical user interface, application programming interface, and command line interface. Okay, so this was a quick definition of Tosca. So let's move to the next question. So what are the main components of Tosca? Okay, so as you can see on the screen, these are the main components. The first one is Tosca Commander. Then you have the Tosca Executor. Next is Tosca Xscan, or you can say Tosca Wizard. And the last component is the test repository. Okay, so this was a very simple question. And guys, just one thing I forgot to mention, we have divided these questions into, the first set of questions, like approx 15 questions will be for those candidates who are freshers. Okay, and the remaining question, like 15 onwards, we have the questions for the experienced candidates, like for those candidates who have experience of at least 2 to 3 years in Tosca. Okay, so based on that, this was a very simple question. Let's move ahead and discuss the next question. So the next question is, what are the advantages of using Tosca? So as you can see on the screen, these are the various advantages that you must mention. Okay, so the first and foremost advantage is that you have multiple features in one single tool. Next, you have scriptless automation, and then it is also suitable for large-scale operations. The next point here is the test management. After that, you also have mass updates and reusability of the assets. Apart from this, Tosca supports multiple platforms and it has quality vendor support. Next, it has easy to use interface. And last but not the least, it has model-based automation. Okay, so these are some of the advantages of using Tosca. Okay, so let's move ahead. The next question is how to run tests using execution lists. Okay, so this you can say, like this question you can say is a scenario-based question. Okay, execution lists in Tosca can be executed either by pressing the F6 key in the execution section or by selecting the run option from the context menu. Okay, so select the execution list of your choice by using the Control plus left mouse button to run more than one execution list. Okay, so say for example, if you have to run multiple lists, like multiple execution lists, for that purpose, what you can do is you can use Control and the left mouse button. After that, what you can do is you can check the test object that has already started before you run the execution list. So let's move to the next question. Okay, so the next question is, what are the ways to run tests in the ScratchBook? So the ScratchBook allows you to perform trial runs for your test cases. So objects like test case or test case folders and test steps can be run on this. Okay, and now if you talk about the options that are available to run the test in the ScratchBook, so as you can see on the screen, the first option is run your objects immediately. Okay, and the second option is add or arrange objects in the ScratchBook, and then you can run them. So let's move to the next question. The next question is explain the types of errors available in Tosca. So there are basically 3 types of errors which are present in Tosca. The first one is the verification failure. So this occurs when verification does not provide the expected results. In simple words, the value expected by the test case specification does not match the value given by the test object. The second type of error is that of user abort. So this type of error occurs when the test execution is aborted by the user. Okay, and the third one is the dialog failure. So the application wants to get control of either that doesn't exist or which is not in an operational state. Okay, so when you have this kind of situation, then there is error of dialog failure. Okay, so let's move to the next question. The next question is, how will you fetch data from the Excel using Tosca? Okay, so for a single test scenario that has to be tested on various data sets, Tosca provides a feature of template instances to create any number of test cases from your data set to import your Excel data and then embed it into test case steps. Okay, and the second way is to import the data from an external source with the help of Excel engine. Okay, so these are the two ways by which you can fetch the data from Excel using Tosca. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Okay, so the next question is, explain how can you use multiple browsers within the same test case? Okay, so this is another scenario-based question. So we need to automate a test case spanning various applications that run on multiple browsers. Okay, so using buffers, change the test configuration parameters at runtime by using two steps. And what are those two steps? So as you can see on the screen, these are the two steps. In the first step, change the value of the test configuration parameter to browser or any other buffer name that you prefer. Okay, so this is basically the buffer name that you must specify. In the second step, you must use a tbox set buffer to specify which browser needs to be used. Okay, in the second step, you need to provide the various types of browsers that are available, like you can specify any one of them. Okay, so these are the two steps by which you can use multiple browsers within the same test case. The next question is, explain in detail about TC shell. Okay, so TC shell is the command line control of the Tosca commander. It can be started in two different modes using the script and the interactive. Okay, and what are those two modes? The first mode, the script mode, allows shell to work with a set of commands from the script data file. This mode is suitable for automation processes. The user here has no possibility to intervene with any section in this process. And the second mode is the interactive mode. So in this mode, the user will be provided with a set of options and assistance. Users can use the complete range of functions of the GUI version in the Tosca commander. Okay, so this was all about the TC shell. The next question is, explain test data management. Okay, so test data management enables you to manage the test data needed for the test execution. It is a part of the Tricentis Tosca Testsuite standard installation. It helps you to manage, use, and reuse the test data. So testers can access the exact test data required seamlessly for even more complex scenarios with on-demand access to stateful test data. Okay, so this was all about the test data management. The next question is, what is the use of Tosca API scan? Okay, so Tosca API scan helps you to create test cases for Tosca orchestrated service virtualization or the web services. So we can scan the API definitions, validate messages, and save them in the test cases. Let's move to the next question. Okay, so the next question is, what is Tosca query language? Okay, so Tosca query language, or TQL, is a powerful search method that allows you to take control of the project at any time. The TSQL search is context dependent. It is used for various functions and expressions within the Tricentis Tosca. So this was a quick definition of TQL, or the Tosca query language. The next question is, what are the steps to perform Tosca Connect HP ALM Tosca integration? Okay, so how do you integrate these two elements, Tosca Connect and HP ALM Tosca? Okay, so there are various steps that you must follow for this integration. Okay, in the first step, what you do is you install the REST API. In the next step, there is installation of TaskTop with the license key. Then test cases synchronization from Tosca to test plan module in the HP ALM. So after that, what you have to do, the execution list synchronization from the Tosca to test lab module in the HP ALM. And the last step is execution entry and latest test result sync from the Tosca to the test lab or test runs modules in the HP ALM. Okay, so these are the steps that you must follow for the integration of Tosca Connect and the HP ALM. So this was another scenario-based questions, and this was a very important question as far as the interview is concerned. Okay, so let's move ahead. So the next question is, what is the use of Tosca Jira integration? So Tosca Jira integration improves the quality and traceability of software products. And if you talk about the benefits, so as you can see on the screen, these are the various benefits. The first one is that it synchronizes failed tests from the Tosca. Next, it automatically reports the defects. And the last point is it supports cross-tool traceability. So these are the advantages of the Tosca Jira integration. Okay. So the next question is, what does the Tosca CI do and how can it be implemented? Okay. So Tosca continuous integration triggers the automated Tosca test cases without the user input. Okay. It helps to reduce the testing time for the continuous integration and delivery. Okay. And now if you talk about the different ways through which it can be implemented. So there are two ways over here. In the first way, you run the test execution via the remote service through a separate execution workspace. Okay. And in the second way, you use the Tosca CI together with Tosca distributed execution. Okay. So these are the two ways through which you can implement the Tosca CI. Okay. So guys, the first 15 questions that we just discussed were for the fresher candidates. And now, like 16 onwards, the questions will be for the experienced candidates as discussed earlier. Okay, so let's move to the next question. The next question is, how does Tosca Testsuite support model-based and risk-based testing? Okay, so Tosca defines test cases by scanning the applications. The automation model includes automation logic for decoupling the test logic as the specified as a test case. Once the required models are defined, they can be used to execute both the automated and the manual test cases with input and verification data. Okay, so let's move to the next question. So what are the various ways to identify objects in the Tosca Testsuite? Okay, so as you can see on the screen, these are the various ways to identify the objects. Okay, so the first way is identify by properties. Next, identify by anchor. Then you have identify by image. And lastly, you have identify by index. Okay, so these are the 4 different ways to identify objects in the Tosca Testsuite. So let's move ahead with the next question. Okay, so the next question is, why should we use Rescan in Tosca? Okay, so Rescan is nothing but scanning the already scanned module. Let's suppose you have a scanned web page, but you need to make some changes and add new fields in that page. Okay, so to add them in the test case, what you need to do is you just need to rescan the module. Okay, so this was the overall reason of using Rescan in Tosca. Let's move ahead with the next question. And the next question is, what is the use of ActionMode constraint? So ActionMode constraint is used for limiting the search. If a constraint is specified along with the verify, it will verify only those items where the constraint is verified. So you can use this if you know which elements uniquely identify as a list item. So let's move ahead to the next question. So the next question is, explain the various test configuration parameters. Okay, so test configuration parameters help you configure your tests to set values. It can also be used for using Tosca objects. Okay, so you can create test configuration parameters by using various Tosca objects such as project root element, execution list, component folder, execution entry folder, configurations folder, execution entry, test case folder, ScratchBook, test case design folder, execution list folder, and so on. The next question is, explain string operations. Okay, so string operations are used for verifying or modifying the strings using regular expressions. It includes count specific characters or words in the statement, replacing a word with another word, verifying the format of some number, and so on. So you should have a module 8-pack downloaded and imported into your project to perform string operations. The next question is, can we compare PDF using Tosca? So Tosca provides us with a standard module to perform compare PDF. So this function supports 2 PDF files to be compared automatically with each other. If any differences are found, they are shown in the execution log after the test execution. The next question is, how can you check if a file exists in a specific directory or not in Tosca. So using tbox file existence, you can check whether the file exists in a specific directory or not. Okay, so there are two parameters, or you can say the attributes of this. As you can see on the screen, the first parameter is the directory, which is nothing but the path to the file which is to be verified. And the second is the file. So this is nothing but the name of the file to be verified. So you can use action modes, verify or Walton. The next question is explain exploratory testing. Okay, so exploratory testing is a process of designing and executing tests and interpreting test results all at one time. It is a plan as you test approach. The purpose of this testing is to explore the unknown to avoid the unexpected results. The next question is, what is the advantage of linking test cases to the requirements in Tosca Testsuite? The biggest advantage of linking test cases to requirements is that you can keep a track of the requirements that we link in the test cases in Tosca. Okay, so this lets us know how many requirements are covered, how many more are needed, and also we can check for how many requirements the test cases has passed successfully. So this actually helps us give a high level picture of the requirement coverage. The next question is, how can you create test case templates manually? Okay, so we can create the test case templates using provided modules of Tosca BI modules and samples.tce subset. Okay, and if you talk about the various steps, so these are the various steps as you can see on the screen. The first step, what you do is you create a test case according to your own requirements. In the next step, what you do is you right click on the test case and select the option convert to template from the context menu to convert the test case to a template. In the third step, you drag the appropriate test sheet and drop it onto your test case template. And in the last step, what you do is you use the Excel paths to manually assign the test sheet values to the required test step values, instantiate the test case template. Okay, so these are the 4 steps that you must follow to manually create the test case templates. The next question is how to instantiate test cases with Excel. So instantiating means changing one template test case into multiple test cases based on the test data which is supplied to a template. And now if you talk about the steps, the first step is the test case to be instantiated must be considered as a template. The second step is the values which need to be transferred from the template must be linked by the specified syntax with the attributes of the template. In the next step, what you do is you choose the create template instance from the context menu of the test case template. And in the next step, the Excel file with the corresponding spreadsheet must be specified in the subsequent dialog box. After that, what you do is you confirm your inputs by clicking on the OK button. And then if you click on the yes in the subsequent dialog box, the instantiation process will start. Okay, so this is how you instantiate test cases with Excel. The next question is which looping statements are available in Tosca? Okay, so to run the test steps with branches, so Tosca supports various looping statements such as if, do, and while. Okay, so these looping statements are similar to those that you encounter in any programming language. Okay, so suppose you have learned C, C++, Java. Okay, so there also you have the same looping statements if, do, while, and the same are present in Tosca as well. Okay, so let's move ahead. The next question is explain synchronization in Tosca. So synchronization means matching the application speed with automation tool speed. So it can be achieved in Tosca using action mode wait on. Synchronization settings are located under the settings, tbox, and synchronization. The next question is define business parameters in Tosca. Okay, so business parameters allow you to steer the values that you want in your test cases. So business parameters can also be updated if the payload has changed. Okay, and you can define them manually within the module by following a few steps, such as the first step is XML elements and the attributes in the payload tab. Then you have the JSON data in the payload tab. Next, headers in the headers list, parameters in the parameters tabs or the params tab. Then you have transport information in requests, and then status code and response time in response. Okay, so these are the various things that you can define manually within the module to define the business parameters. The next question is, can you explain a Tosca framework? Okay, so Tosca is one of the best and most popular automation tools provided by the Tricentis. So the Tosca tool charges a specific price, but offers equal services to use as well. So Tosca has become popular because it gives the proper balance between quality and performance. It delivers the full ability of the test cases for providing an efficient test management process. It is suitable for the large-scale applications to get effective results. Okay, so this was all about the Tosca framework. The next question is, what are the limitations of the Tosca ScratchBook? So we use Tosca ScratchBook for storing the temporary execution logs. We use the option for the temporary execution during the test case development to check the script accuracy. So if you execute the action repeatedly in a test step, the details will not be accessible. The execution logs also are not stored permanently. Okay, so Tosca ScratchBook is not a correct option to keep the execution logs. Okay, so this is all about the limitations of Tosca ScratchBook. Okay, so guys, with this, we have come to the end of this session on Tosca interview questions, and we have tried to cover maximum questions over here. Okay, and if you think we have missed anything, or if you feel that you have any doubts or queries related to this session, then you can write them in the comments box below, and we will try to resolve each and every query or doubt of yours. Okay, so thank you so much for being with us and have a good day.